All right, we're going to continue our conversation with solving. And once again, what you're going to see in this lesson is really like 95% review, really. We're just going to add like one more little piece, all right, to the puzzle. So you can see that we are still, all right, solving. But now, once again, we're going to still solve with variables on both sides of the equation. And then we're going to add in some grouping symbols, all right, which means we're going to have to distribute and combine like terms. And once again, this is standard 11. All right, topics 1 to 4. I can solve linear, absolute value, and quadratic equations. All right, so just to get you thinking, we're going to do some review problems here. So I would like you to, all right, do the problems here, 1A, 1B, and 1C in the opener. All right, pause the video, complete those, flip it back on, and we'll see how you did. All right, so here is my work. Let's see how your work compares. All right, so now, here's what we look for. So to know we can distribute, we have to have parentheses, all right? So if we see parentheses, we want to look and see what's inside. All right, and the way we know we can distribute is as long as the parenthesis isn't closed. All right, so as long as there's no exponent, all right, on the upper right-hand side here of our parenthesis, we can distribute into it. And remember, if I see just a variable, there's really a 1 in front here. So this is really like 4 times 1x, which is 4x. 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. And then I bring everything else down in the problem. And then I combine like terms, right? So 4x plus 12x, all right, that's 16x. So 16x minus 32 is equal to 0. Now, if it's already equal to 0, we just do our, all right, cover up here, use our 0 property. 32 minus 32 is 0. So 16x equals 32, and then 16 times 2 is 32, so that means x is 2. All right, and then I should have started here, like, right, this is linear, so we're expecting one solution. All right, now looking at 1b, this is absolute value, and so we're looking for two solutions. Now, once again, I have parentheses. They're open, all right, so there's no exponent, so I can distribute into it. Now, once again, I'm not distributing into the absolute value, I'm distributing to the number in front of the absolute value. Now, once again, there's really a 1 right here that we don't see. So this is 3 times 1, which gives me 3 absolute value of x. Then 3 times 4, which is 12. And then I have the plus 15, which I bring down. All right, now this time my like terms are my numbers here. So 12 plus 15, right, that gives me 27. And then I have my 0 property. So once again, if it's equal to 0, right, negative 27 plus 27 is equal to 0. So 3 absolute value of x is equal to negative 27. 3 times negative 9 is negative 27. So the absolute value of x is equal to negative 9. So we know that the absolute value is a distance from 0, so it can never be negative. So at this step, we know that that means a no solution problem. All right, and then finally on 1c here, right, once again, we have parentheses. They are open, right? There's no exponent here, so I can distribute into them. So 9 times 2 is 18x squared. All right, then 9 times 1 is 9, and then I bring down the rest of the problem. All right, now once again, our like terms are our numbers here. So 9 plus 27 gives me 36. All right, negative 36 plus 36 is 0. So 18x squared equals negative 36. Now 18 times what is negative 36? 18 times negative 2. And once again, we know when we square a number, it's always going to give us a positive result because a positive times a positive is a positive, a negative times a negative is a positive. So anytime we get to this step, right, we can't have a square equal to negative. That also means no solution. All right, and I should have started here with this. I get a little excited, right? That's quadratic, and we're looking for two solutions. All right, so now this is basically the process that we're going to use, right? And so when we're working, we only have like 5 steps, and it's the same 5 steps for every problem, right? Okay, distribute if you can. All right, and now the difference is we do this side to side. So distribute on the left if you can, then distribute on the right if you can. All right, then the next step is combine like terms if you can. All right, so combine like terms on the left, combine like terms on the right. And then really after that, it's a combination of 3 things, right? I want to use my 0 property. So if it's equal to 0, I'm going to use it. If it's not equal to 0, I'm going to make it equal to 0. All right, and then after I use the 0 property, it's really either going to be a multiplication problem or a division problem. And that is it. Those are the same steps we're going to use no matter what kind of problem we have. All right, so now looking at number 2, all right, so we always want to start with what kind of function do I have so I can anticipate the types of solutions. Right, so we see that this is a linear problem. That means I'm looking for one solution. Now, as I go left to right, so when I look at the left side, there's no parentheses, no, all right, terms to combine. So I'm going to leave the left side alone. But when I look at the right side here, I can see that I can distribute because I have my parentheses, and they are open. I'm going to bring this 5x down, all right, but now I have to distribute the 3 into my parentheses. So 3 times 7x, that's 21x. 3 times 5, that's 15. So there's the first step, right? Distribute if you can. All right. Now, step number 2, combine like terms if you can. All right. So I look here, nothing to combine here. But on the right side, I do have 2 like terms, right? I have 5x plus 21x, and that is 26x plus 15. All right, so distribute if you can. Combine like terms if you can. And now we want it to be equal to 0. All right, so it's not equal to 0. So I'm going to make it equal to 0 so I can use my zero property. So I'm going to subtract 26x and subtract 26x. That's 0. I'm going to subtract 15 and I'm going to subtract 15. So remember, variable goes with the variable, number goes with the number. All right, and I've made my right side of my equation equal to 0. All right, so 8 minus 26, all right, is negative 18x. Negative 39 minus 45, that is negative 54. All right, and that's what we want. Now it's right back to where we've been, right? So now I use my zero property. So 54 minus 54 is 0, so whatever's behind my hand has to be 54. So that's negative 18x. All right, now it's a multiplication problem. All right, so negative 18 times what is 54? All right, it's going to be negative 3. Now remember, if you didn't know the fact right, okay, if you didn't know that fact right, this is multiplication, so the way I undo multiplication is I can divide by that number, right? So negative 18 divided by negative 18 leaves me my 1x, and then 54 divided by negative 18 is negative 3. All right, so there's my answer. Now, once again, we can go back and plug it in, all right, and check our answer. So notice if I plug this in on the left side here, all right, I would have 8 in parentheses. We're going to put that negative 3, just like we've done in the past when we evaluate minus 39. So my left side of my equation, if I plug in negative 3, gives me negative 63. So now if I plug it in on the right side, right, so 5 times negative 3 plus 3, open parentheses, 7 times negative 3 plus 5 equals negative 63. All right, and so I can see real quick, all right, that my solution does work. So you can always get that answer, go back and plug it in, all right? And that's why we like these calculators where you can see it. So this really should look exactly like what's on your paper, except for wherever there's an x, you should plug in your value. So notice this looks just like what I have here, but then I have that negative 3 where the x is. Same thing, right? There's a negative 3, there's a negative 3. So it should look exactly the same on your view screen. All right, so now let's move to number 3 here. All right, so now, once again, I look at this. It is an absolute value equation. I'm looking, all right, for 2 solutions. All right, so step 1, distribute if you can. Do you see parentheses? Are they open? Yes, I see parentheses. Yes, they're open. There's no exponent here closing them off. So I'm going to distribute. Now, once again, this is absolute value of x, and the number in front is a 1. So this is 2 times 1 there. So that's 2 times absolute value of x, and then I do 2 times 3. So that's plus 6, and I bring down the minus 6 equals 4x plus 5. All right, because there's nothing to distribute on the right side. Now, step 2, combine like terms if you can. So on my left side, I do have 2 like terms here. I have 2x. Now 6 minus 6 is 0, so I'm just going to write plus 0 right here. And there are no like terms on the right side. Now I want to get it equal to 0. Now remember, it doesn't matter which side is equal to 0, or left side or right side. Typically I just do the right side out of habit. But notice here, it would be simpler to get the left side equal to 0 because I only have this one term here because I already have 0 for my numbers. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to subtract 2x, and I'm going to subtract 2x, right? And now I have 0 equals 2x plus 5. All right, so it doesn't matter which side you get equal to 0. So if you have a simpler way, just do it that way. Now I get to use my 0 property. So negative 5 plus 5 is 0. So that means 2x is equal to negative 5. All right, now once again, 5 is not a multiple of 2, so maybe you don't know that fact, right? You can estimate it, maybe say 2.5 if you knew that, or I could divide, undo that multiplication with division, right? So x equals, and then I can just do, right, negative 5 divided by 2 on my calculator, and there's my negative 2.5. All right, so just remember, do that opposite operation if you need to know the fact. All right, now look at number 4 here, man. That is just almost a little bit scary, right? Now, it doesn't have to be. So don't worry about the look of the problem, all right? And so if you do not like working with fractions, okay, make it, all right, decimals, all right? And then it might be a little bit more comfortable for you, all right? So the way we make something a decimal, all right, is I just do the top number divided by the bottom number. So 4 divided by 3. So that's 1.33. So this is x minus 1.3. And I'm just going to take one decimal place here. Equals. Then I can do negative 10 divided by 3. So negative 10 divided by 3 is negative 3.3x. Minus, and then we just did 4 divided by 3, so that's 1.3x. And then 13 divided by 3 is 4.3. So if the fractions like freak you out, just make them a decimal. Top number divided by bottom number, and then we've done these kind of problems, okay? Now, you also have a fraction key on your calculator that you can use, right, to add and subtract and all those kind of things, right? So know that you can do that as well, all right? So most of you will probably feel comfortable moving to a decimal. All right, so now let's do this. All right, so same thing here, right? So distribute if you can. So notice, no parentheses, no parentheses. Okay, so move to step 2. Combine like terms if you can. I can't combine like terms on the left, but I can combine like terms on the right. So I'm going to bring the left side down, and then I'm going to combine my like terms, which is negative 3.3x minus 1.3x. So that's going to be negative 4.6x, and then plus 4.3. All right, now I want to get it equal to 0 to use that 0 property. All right, so this is what's great about this, because it doesn't matter what the numbers are, because we always know they have to be opposites to be 0. So I'm going to add 4.6x. I'm going to add, whoops, almost did that, 4.6x right here. All right, so very important, right? The variable goes with the variable. Almost put it in the wrong slot there. So minus 4.3, so minus 4.3. All right, that makes my right side equal to 0. Now remember, this is a 1 here. This is 1x. So this is 1 plus 4.6, so that's 5.6x. And then negative 5.6. And now I get to use my 0 properties. And once again, what minus 5.6 is 0? 5.6. So 5.6x equals 5.6. And then what number times something gives us that same number? It's going to be 1. So 5.6 times 1, all right, is 5.6. So notice it wasn't really that bad. All right, so convert it to decimals if you need to. Use your fraction key, right? Don't let that hold you up. And notice the look of the problem never changes, right? The process of the problem. All right, let's check out number 5 here. All right, and I should have did this again. I get excited, right? Linear, and that was 1. This is a quadratic, right? And we're looking for 2. All right, so step 1, distribute if you can. I see my parentheses. They are open, so I'm going to distribute, all right, to everything inside of it. Now, once again, this is a 1x squared. I'm distributing the 3 to the 1 right there. So 3 times 1 is 3x squared. 3 times 6 is 18. All right, and now I'm moving to the right side. Notice nothing to do on the right side right now, so I'm just going to bring it down. Now, step 2, combine like terms if you can. Nothing to combine on the left side, nothing to combine on the right side. So now I move to, all right, let's get it equal to 0. All right, so I'm going to have to add 4x squared, add 4x squared. I'm going to have to add 6, I'm going to have to add 6. All right, so 7x squared plus 24 is equal to 0. All right, so now, what plus 24 is 0? Negative 24. So 7x squared equals negative 24. Now, once again, this is not, 24 is not a multiple of 7. So if you need to, you can just divide by 7 to get that approximation, right? Or you can approximate, all right? Use a little mental math, right? So negative 24 divided by 7. Yeah, so you can see that's negative 3.4. So maybe some of you estimated negative 3.5. Perfect. Now, the big thing here now, right, is that we have an x squared equals to a negative, right? So we know when we square a number, it's always going to come out to be a positive, all right? So this would be a no solution problem. All right, so we're going to do one more together here. So let's flip the page and let's look at number 7. We're going to skip number 6 for now. Now, I want to look at this one because, all right, of the look of the problem. All right, so now when I look at this, hopefully you see, yes, it's absolute value, and we're looking for 2 solutions. Now, we never distribute into, all right, into an absolute value. So I can't take this 3 and multiply into this. I can't take this 7 and multiply into this. But what I can do is treat them like terms. So if I have the absolute value of something, and I have another absolute value of that same something, so x plus 5 and x plus 5, I can treat those like terms. So I can't distribute on the left side. I can't distribute on the right side. There are no like terms to combine on the left side, no like terms to combine on the right side. But what I can do now is get this equal to 0. So this might make sense to you, right? So I can subtract 26 and subtract 26 like we've always done, right? That's 0. I'm going to treat this like a whole term. So I'm going to add 7 absolute value of x plus 5. And I'm going to add 7 absolute values of x plus 5. And notice those look alike. Those are like terms, right? 3x plus 7x is 10x. 3 apples plus 7 apples is 10 apples, right? So we don't care what the thing is, but if the thing is the same, it's a like term. And notice what this does. This gives me 10 absolute value of x plus 5 minus 30 is equal to 0. All right, let me get this back into focus for you. There we go. Now, we can use our 0 property. Now, once again, I can't distribute in here, so I'm just going to use my 0 property. What minus 30 is 0? That is 30. All right, so I get 10. Absolute value of x plus 5 equals to 30. Now, 10 times what is 30? That would be 3. So the absolute value of x plus 5 is equal to 3. Now, remember, we've talked about this. We're still looking for 2 solutions. But if we have more than just x inside of our grouping symbol, that means our answers aren't going to be opposite. So I'm not going to get like 3 and -3 for my final answer. All right, I got to do a little bit more work. Now, what numbers have an absolute value of 3? It's still 3 and -3, but my problem's not finished because it's x plus 5 equals 3 and x plus 5 equals -3. All right, so I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides here. X plus 2 is equal to 0, so my solution is -2. Add 3, x plus 8 is equal to 0, so my second solution is -8. So just remember, right, if I have more than just x in here, right, I'm going to get my two solutions, but they're not necessarily going to be opposites. All right, if you have any questions, have those ready for us in class, and we will see you next time.